So it looks like Elon tried to find out the real reason for Sam's firing by reaching out to Ilya Sutskever. So this was a super interesting discussion at a recent New York Times event. So let's take a little listen.
So I'm so curious what you think of what's just happened over the past 2 weeks while you were dealing with this other series of headlines, a whole other series of headlines
OpenAI so far.
at OpenAI. What did you think?
Well,
You founded it, co-founded.
co-founded, yeah. The whole arc of OpenAI, frankly, is a little troubling because the reason for starting OpenAI was to create a counterweight to Google and DeepMind, which at the time had 2/3 of all AI talent and basically infinite money and compute, and there was no counterweight. It was unipolar world. And Larry and Paige and I used to be very close friends, and I would stay at his house and I would talk to Larry into the late hours of the night about AI safety. And it became apparent to me that Larry did not care about AI safety. I think perhaps the thing that gave it away was when he called me a speciesist for being pro.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty ridiculous term, speciesist. The only time I've ever heard that term being used is when Elon Musk is referring to this conversation.
Humanity. As in, like a race, but for species. So I'm like, wait a second, what side are you on, Larry? And then I'm like, okay, listen, this guy's calling me a speciesist. He doesn't care about AI safety. We've got to have some counterpoint here because this seems like we could be, this is no good. So OpenAI was actually started, and it was meant to be open source. I named it OpenAI after open source. It is in fact closed source, super closed. It should be renamed super closed source for maximum profit AI.
Okay, so I have talked about this before, that the name of OpenAI is just ridiculous given what the company is doing, but I'm not sure max profit is correct since they have some kind of capped return model. But regardless, I do agree OpenAI is not an appropriate name for the company anymore.
So, because this is what it actually is. I mean, Faye loves irony. I mean, in fact, a friend of mine says like the way to predict outcomes is the most ironic outcome is the most, like this Occam's razor, like the simplest sort of explanation is most likely. And my friend Jonah's view is that the most ironic outcome is the most likely. And that's what's happened with OpenAI. It's gone from an open source foundation, a 501c3, to suddenly it's like a $90 billion full profit corporation with closed source. So I don't know how you go from there to there, but that seems like I don't know how you get, I don't know, is this legal?
So as you saw Sam Altman get ousted by somebody Ilya, and Ilya was a friend of yours.
Yes.
You brought him there. Your relationship with Larry Page effectively broke down over you recruiting him away, I think.
That's correct. That was the fight. Larry refused to be friends with me after I recruited Ilya.
And so here's Ilya apparently saying something is very wrong.
I think we should be concerned about this because I think Ilya actually has a strong moral compass. He thinks about, he really sweats it over questions of what is right. And if Ilya felt strongly enough to want to, fire Sam, well, I think the world should know what was that reason.
Have you talked to him?
I've reached out, but he doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Have you talked to other people behind the scenes? Is this all happening?
I've talked to a lot of people. I've not found anyone who knows why.
Okay, so this is very interesting that even Elon, with all his connections, couldn't find out the real reason. But then again, he is a direct competitor with his Grok product. So maybe that's some of the reason why they're particularly cagey around him.
Have you?
I think we are all still trying to find out.
I mean, look, one of two things is either it was a serious thing and we should know what it is, or it was not a serious thing and then the board should resign.
What do you think of Sam Altman?
I have mixed feelings about Sam. I do. The ring of power, can corrupt.
Same could be said for Elon, I suppose.
And this is the ring of power. So, I don't know. I want to know why Ilya felt so strongly as far as Sam. This sounds like a serious thing. I don't think it was trivial. And I'm quite concerned that there's some, dangerous element of AI that they've
Discovered.
Yes.
You think they've discovered something?
That would be my guess.
All right, so at this point, he starts to talk about his historical opinions about AI and it being a double-edged sword and all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend checking it out. But the really interesting part for me was him speculating about the real reason for Sam's firing and being quite concerned that there may have been some major discovery that could have been very problematic, and that could be the real reason behind the firing. Let me know in the comments below what you think of his comments and if you think there was a different reason for Sam's firing. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with the latest AI and tech news.